space. It's dark, it's dangerous, and it's scary. That's why we are going to upgrade Star Wars.
Baby, I'm really grateful that you want to help me with YouTube and everything, but we're upgrading Dune.
Oh, do you mean this one? Yeah, space.
Like Ronja said, today we're upgrading Dune. I've had this idea of upgrading the spice and water tokens to something more fun and thematic. So let's go to the craft store. I always get trapped in here. I get so much inspiration and ideas for future projects. There are so many cool materials and tools that can help you create whatever you want. Okay, let's not get sidetracked. This is what I was looking for. I think these are a very good size, not too big and not too small to act as tokens. My idea is quite simple. I want to fill these glass bottles with some sand and water. But this time I actually did some research before I started, and it's not as straightforward as you might think. For example, you can't just fill these with normal water, because after a while things start to grow and will make your water really gross. But more about that later. I'll start with the spice tokens. Now we only need some sand, so I went to the beach, collected some sand and ruined a kid's day. This last part is optional. I also bought this decorative crushed glass, so let's see which looks best. You could just use normal sand, but I'm going to try add some glitter to make it look more special. I bought embossing powder because I thought it had the right look compared to the other glitters in the store. I started with mixing some embossing powder and sand to find the right ratio. I then tried to mix both together, but decided that I preferred the decorative glass because it matched the color of the tokens closer.
Nice job.
There are 3 spice tokens that counts as 5 spice in the game, and I didn't want to buy a pack of 12 bottles in a different size only to use 3 of them. So we're just going to use the same sized bottles and differentiate between them by gluing on some fake leather. And when filling the bottles, I also do this, just to make sure I get the right amount of spice. Before we move on to the water tokens, I'm curious to see how durable they are. I don't want my board game filled with sand and water if they break, so let's do a simple drop test to find out. Let's move on to the water tokens. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to use regular water. It will eventually grow stuff in it and get really gross, so I will use distilled water and some food coloring. Distilled water is also really cheap. I bought 5 liters for the equivalent of $4. But if you want to take it one step further, you can also add a couple of drops of glycerin and mica powder. You really just need a couple of drops glycerin, so hopefully you can find a smaller bottle in your craft store or online. Glycerin is used in snow globes to create that cool swirl effect, and I will combine that with mica powder to make it shimmer when we shake it. I want the mixture to resemble water and not look too magical, and also have just a subtle hint of the mica powder. After a lot of testing, I finally found the ratios I was satisfied with. I mixed 100 milliliter distilled water with 3 drops of glycerin and 3 drops of food coloring, and just a tiny amount of blue mica powder. I have looked up similar products from Amazon with good reviews and have listed them in the description if you want to try this for yourself. So now that I know what method I like best, let's put on some epic music and get to work. When you're ready to glue, make sure to dry the inside of the jars using a piece of cotton wool. Apply hot glue on the base of the cork and allow it to dry. Then apply hot glue on the edges and stop it into the jar immediately. You can clean up the edges with a knife once it's dried.
Can I have my chopsticks now?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Now let's see these tokens in action.
I love Battlestar Galactica.
And thanks for watching.